Okay, first of all, I want to say thank you to the 3 people that subscribed during the live stream, and it was really cool. I had 55 people tune into the live stream, and then I had 3 people after the live stream tune in. And thank you so much for that. And that was really cool. And so I decided to update it because the live stream there was a little bit of hiccup at the beginning and I didn't want people to tune out. And then sometimes live streams get hidden on YouTube if they're not live. And so I decided to change it and just make a full video about my the Culture Smart book, the adventures in the UK, and the things I bought when in the UK. So thanks again for my 3 new subscribers, and let's talk about the book review, the stories, and what I bought in the UK. Okay, so before going to the UK, my mother and I both read a little bit of the Culture Smart book, and there are some things that I did not read because it didn't really apply to me because we were only there for 10 days. We weren't working there or anything. But the Culture Smart books do go into that. It goes into every aspect of if you're living there and interacting with people. And so I read a lot about the history and about, interacting with the people and how their culture, their customs, and all that. I really enjoy learning about that. And I liked one thing that I really liked is that animals are seen as a member of the family, unlike in other cultures. In Russia, for example, not in Russia now, but in the Soviet Union, I hear a lot of people talking about when they lived in the Soviet Union, you didn't get a dog just to get a dog. You got a dog for a purpose. They were serving a purpose. But in the UK, people get a dog because they want a fur baby, so that's really cool. And let me know if you're in the UK. Let me know if you sleep with your animals, because that's one thing that I did when I had my dog that's in my thumbnail. I slept with my dog until she couldn't hold her bladder anymore through the night, and I didn't want to sleep in pee-pee. So, but until that happened, until she got too old, I slept with my dog every night. And let me know if you're from the UK if your dogs sleep with you in your bed. And I think this is a really good book for anybody and a good series for anyone going to any country. They have a thing for all the different countries so you don't look ignorant and you understand a little bit more of the culture before going there. And I've read one about, I think back in the day I read one about China, I read one about Costa Rica when I went there for study abroad, and I haven't been there yet, but I read one about Japan, which was really interesting. And they're just really great books. They're an overview of the history and the culture and different things. So I would recommend this book. Now I'm going to talk about my adventure and all the stuff I bought in the UK. Okay, so the first crazy thing that happened. We're not even 24 hours in the UK, and I it was early in the morning, 6:30 their time, and I was not feeling so well, and I ended up feeling queasy and then collapsing in the line while we were waiting to go be seated for breakfast. And I think it was just a combination of things, some dehydration a little bit, but then also the time difference and being tired. So I collapsed to my knees. We were going to go, because I felt queasy, we were going to go somewhere else, and then I just collapsed to my knees. And my mom thought I would have to have an ambulance, because I couldn't really talk to her for a little bit, like a few minutes, like, let's see, not too long, but I wasn't able to talk to her, and she thought maybe something else was wrong, and so she went to the hotel receptionist, and they called the NHS people, ambulance people, and she got me to a chair to sit down after she said later, because I didn't remember this, she got me off the floor. She goes, "You kind of walked, but I dragged you." And that's how, and then I sat you down in a chair and gave you some water. And I go, "I don't remember how I got to the chair, from the floor to the chair. I don't remember that. I remember sitting in a chair and drinking water, but I don't remember how I got that short period of time. I don't remember." And she said, "I kind of dragged you and you kind of walked." And I go, "Oh, that's because you're the goat." And she's like, "What's the goat?" I go, "The goat." She's like, "Honey, I don't know what that is." And I go, "Oh, it's because you're the greatest of all time, Mom." And so she went to the receptionist and thought we would need an ambulance. And they asked, the ambulance people or whatever asked her what my date of birth was. And she said 6/19. And you're frazzled because your kid has just kind of collapsed. And apparently they asked her what. I guess they were like, "Can you repeat it again?" Or they said something to that effect. I didn't hear it. But and my mom was like, and uh June 19th. And I don't remember if I shouted it, but I remember thinking, "You're putting the date in the wrong format." And and so we get up there and we went back into the hotel room. I drank some water, and then the NHS did call to make sure everything was okay and to make sure that they did not need to send an ambulance. And they asked me a bunch of questions. And Ruby from the NHS, she was phenomenal and she needs a raise. Okay. And so they asked me questions. They said, "You don't need an ambulance. You just rest. Please drink water, da da da. And if there's something else, please call us." And they wanted to have a doctor call me. And I said, "I think it's just everything all at once. I'll sleep a little bit, and then I don't want the doctor to call me." And so they honored that, and I'm glad they didn't send an ambulance. That would have been completely different ball game in the U.S. It would have been like, "Yeah, cha-ching, 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 ambulance, 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 cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching," but they didn't think I needed an ambulance because I wasn't having a stroke or anything like that. They made sure I didn't have any. They call it pins and needles, where your arm is tingly. We call it falling. We could say tingly, or we'd say it's fallen asleep. So I didn't have any of that. So we rested up. Or I rested up, and we ate something, and I rested up for a little bit. My mom got me some stuff from Sainsbury's, and I believe I went to sleep for an hour. And after that, my mom was kind of stressed out, and obviously, and she said, "Honey, I need to go do something. I need to get away and do something." And she wanted to go to Westminster Abbey. And I said, I want to go with you. I don't want to stay in this hotel room. That's not why I came to the UK." And she said, "Well, I don't want you collapsing again." I go, "Mom, I rested. I've been eating. I'm going to drink water. I have my water bottle filled up." And so after much convincing, we went to Westminster Abbey. And let me tell you something. I'm glad I did. Two magical things happened. The first is my mom saved money because the people at the beginnings of the entrance saw me being guided by my mother and my eyes and stuff, and they said, "Oh, you're disabled." And they're not supposed to ask that, but they ended up asking it. And Mom was like, "Yeah, she's legally blind." And they go, "Oh, you save 30 pounds. You both save money for a disabled person and a helper, an attendant." And so I was like, "Okay, that's cool. Okay, that's cool. Okay, things are looking up in the world. That's cool. Thank you, thank you." And then we got the thing to do, like the walk around tour narration thing on a phone, and I'm listening to it, and I wanted to do it in Spanish, but I was like, "This has been a stressful day. I'm just gonna do it in English. That's my native language." Well, I was gonna do it in Spanish because I also speak Spanish, but I am glad I did it in English because we're walking and doing this tour, and I don't know when it hit me, but my I had a feeling. And I was like, thinking, it hit me. I'm like, oh my gosh, Jeremy Irons is doing the walk around narration of Westminster Abbey. And I was like, I wasn't 100% sure, but I was like, I just have to tell someone. I think I'm like 95% there. And so we get out and we're about to turn in the thing, and I was like the whole time I was like, yay! And so we get out and I whisper to my mom, I go, Mom, I think my favorite actor is doing the narration. And she goes, oh, you probably know that, you're probably right, sweetheart. You know all that, and he has a nice voice. Okay. And then I was like, I need to be 100% sure. And so I was like, Mom, will that guy know if it's Jeremy Irons? And she goes, honey, that's the doorman. Honey, he's not going to know. Honey, we will just Google it. And so I Googled it later, and it was Jeremy Irons. So Jeremy Irons solves everything. Jeremy Irons helps someone feel better after they had a horrible episode of dehydration. And that made my day. So, and listen, Westminster Abbey. If you change that, I will be very sad. I don't even live in the UK, and I will be very, very, very sad. Okay? Okay, yes, we got this? Okay, I will be very sad. Do not get rid of Jeremy Irons reading the Westminster Abbey walk around tour thingy. Okay, so we ended up doing a bus tour. So we left London, and we went to, the first place we went to was Bath. And that was really cool to see, like, the bathhouses and the Roman things. And then we did go to Ludlow Castle, and that was really cool to see the history of the people that I've read about, the Tudors and the Plantagenets, and that they actually lived there and walked there. And I actually found out that Alison Weir does tours there, and that she's really, really nice. So I kind of felt like claim to fame kind of thing. And then a funny story happened in Liverpool. We didn't stay a lot of places very long, and so my mother and I were in Liverpool, and we got something to eat. And if you watched my Sundock video, you know that, like my grandmother, after I eat a big meal, not like a snack or something, but a big meal, I sneeze loudly 3 times, at least 3 times. And so that's just a thing in full. That means I'm full. I don't know. My grandmother did the same thing. It doesn't matter what I eat as far as a meal goes. If it's a big meal, I'm sneezing 3 times when I'm full. And so we get out of the restaurant. It was really nice. I had, nice, cool meal, good meal. And so my mother and I were talking just normally. I'm not really too loud anyway. By some standards, I probably am. But I'm not, you know, I my mother's right there with me, so I'm not gonna scream at her. And so we were just trying to lean over and talk and walk and stuff. And I don't remember what we were talking about, but I started sneezing really loud. And right as I sneezed, a guy on a bike, it scared some random guy on a bike. And my mom's like, honey, he jumped. He was like on a bike. And I go, wouldn't that have been bad or an interesting story if he fell off the bike and got kind of injured? And he would have had to explain, like, what happened? How'd you fall off a bike? Well, this American sneezed, and it scared me, and I fell off the bike. But luckily, that did not happen. He just jumped a little bit. And then, after Liverpool, we were only a day in Liverpool, and we ended up going to Scotland and meeting my mother's Scottish friends that she met on another trip. And now I know them, and I felt like I knew them before, but now I actually got to know them, and they came to our hotel, and we had drinks and stuff like that. It was really, really great, and it was really great to meet them. So that is about my UK adventure, and now I'm going to show you about some of the things I bought while in the UK. Okay, now these first books were bought in Bath, and they both discuss women during the Roman Empire, which conquered Britain. And this first one is by Sarah Pomeroy. Let's see. I feel like I'm doing the thing with a fan. And it's called Goddesses, Whores, Wives, and Slaves by Sarah Pomeroy. And I am excited to read this because I do not know a lot about Roman Empire / I don't know if they're going to go into Roman Britain. But I'm excited to read this. This really stood out to me. And I got this in Bath and I love it. I'm excited. And this next one is called Domina by, I'm going to butcher this guy's name. I've been practicing it, but I know I'm going to butcher it. Guy de la Bedoye. And this is about the women behind, another one about the women behind Imperial Rome. And this might talk about women rulers or the rulers behind the women behind the different rulers. So I'm excited to read this because, again, this is a history I don't know much about, and maybe they might talk about Britain a little bit in here. So I'm really excited about these books. Okay, these next two books are both by Alison Weir. We have, let's see, Queens at War, about the Wars of the Roses. And let's see, I don't know if you saw it good enough. There we go. And then we have the Lost Tudor Princess by, again by Alison Weir, but about Margaret Tudor, who found Margaret. Is it Margaret Tudor or Margaret Douglas? Margaret might be Margaret Douglas. Margaret Douglas, I think. And so, book. Okay. They go around. Okay, so I'm excited to read these as well. Alison Weir does a great job at research and history. And I got these at Ludlow Castle, so that is super, super cool. And I'm excited to read them as well. So those are the books that I got. And now let's get started with the food / drink portion of what I bought in the UK. I'm surprised that my suitcase wasn't over, but we got rid of a bunch of stuff too, so it balances out, right? Okay, first of all, I bought some tea. I got this later in our trip, and this is a green tea that it has like a fruity, because I've already tried this, and it was really good. And it's green mixed with fruit. I was expecting a little bit of a different taste, but it works, it works. And it's cool. Watashi no fukusenko wa nihongo deshita. My minor was Japanese, and so I was like, oh my gosh! I looked at the packaging, and it was in Japanese, well, in English too, but in Japanese. So that's kind of cool. I'm like, oh my gosh! And this is, I have not tried this yet. This is it's still in the package. And this is a black tea. I can't wait to try this. And we got it at TWGT, I think it's called. And yeah, so I'm excited about it. And this one, I was on search. I wanted to go to another hot sauce shop in London, but it was really far away, and there were toll roads, so I wasn't able to go. But I did buy this, and I'm excited to try this. Let's just get the bag out of the way. This is Nando's hot peri peri sauce. I'm not going to open this, but let me tell you something. I want to do a book about upping your spice tolerance. There's a book about it, I believe. And if I get 1,000 subscribers, which I'm really close, I will do this and try this on camera. So I will keep this closed until I get 1,000 subscribers. And I will try this on camera, and I hope it's hot because, but for me, it'll probably won't. I don't know if it'll be that hot because I eat the equivalent of liquid magma in food form. I had gotten to where I am able to dip a little bit of the last dab into like my vegan chicken tenders or my French fries. But I hope this has a good flavor too. That will make up if it's not, if it's probably not going to be super hot because I didn't get the extra hot one. It's just regular hot. Let's see. Okay, so I'm excited about this. And I don't want that to fall off the freaking. Oh, that would be a disaster. It almost fell off the desk. Um, so those are just some stuff I got in the UK, and I'm excited about trying some of this stuff. And I had a really great time, and it was great, you know, meeting some people, and it was just great. So I will see you all in the next video. Bye, guys.